Hello and welcome to this very special book review of my favourite series, not only this year, although I only started it this year, but it's become my favourite series of all time, although I haven't read the whole lot. Anyway, let's get on to the point. This is book 2 in the Mistborn series, The Well of Ascension. Now, if you've been following my channel, you know how much I love this series. However, with this book, there are things that I love so dang much, and then there are things in this book that I either didn't love or I had some issues with. So we are going to do something really special. I'm going to be recording back-to-back videos today for the first time. Not the first time I'm doing more than one review for Mistborn, but first time I'm doing back-to-back videos of this nature. I'm going to be recording what I loved about Mistborn's Well of Ascension and what I did not love about Mistborn's Well of Ascension 2. Completely different videos. So let's get to the important details, what you want to know. This book is an adult fantasy. You can call it young adult or adult because there's a lot of confusion about it, but I call it adult. So an adult fantasy book with hard magic systems, epic fantasy to go along with that, and I rated this book 5 stars. So, in case anyone's planning on getting all up in my face and telling me, but it's amazing, I know it's amazing, I gave it 5 stars. But there are things I love about this book just as much as things that I did not love about this book. Today, well, in this video anyway, we're going to focus on the things that I loved. Now, what I normally do with my review videos is I give you 3 pros and 3 cons, spoiler free, then we go into the spoiler version. Today, we are going to do things a bit differently owing to the way that these 2 videos are going to work. Today, I'm still going to give you the 3 pros that are spoiler free, then I'll go into the spoiler version. Then in the what I did not love about Mistborn's Well of Ascension video, the separate video to this, I will give you 3 cons of things I didn't like, spoiler free, and then go into the spoiler version of what I didn't love. So, I have some trusty notes on me to make sure that I remember everything, because you guys, this is one hefty fella of a book, okay? I believe it is 763, I think, pages long, if not more. So it is a tome and a half. It's my first tome and a half of the year since I've started this channel. Anyway, let's get into the spoiler-free version. 3 things that I loved about this book that are spoiler-free. First of all, the reveal. So there's a moment in The Well of Ascension where we're trying to work out which character is something. Okay? I'll go that far. A character that is something. Okay. The reveal blew me away. Brandon Sanderson did an amazing job, because I never in a million years would have guessed that it was this character that was that something. So he did an amazing job with that. My second spoiler-free pro, is the ode to the Shocker in book 1 was very much needed and done incredibly well. If you've read book 1, you know what that shocker is, but I still feel that that is a spoiler, so I'll go into more detail on that in my spoiler version of this. But there is a massive thing that happens in book 1 that really shocked me and had me wanting to play out a moment of misery, the film or the book, take your pick, with Brandon Sanderson, and I just had my issues. Anyway, that there is an ode to that moment played throughout the book in many different cases, and it's done extremely well. So thank you, Brandon Sanderson. My third non-spoiler pro about this book is a new character is introduced into this book who assists the 2 protagonists, and I absolutely love her. She's a breath of fresh air, and she was a lot of fun. So it kept the book really fresh, introducing. There are a couple of new characters, but this one in particular that helps out the 2 protagonists. Just had a lot of love for her. My 4th pro, because I'm going to give you 4 this time, is that there is a new metal that is introduced in this book. For those of you who don't know, part of the magic system within the Mistborn series, it deals with metals. I'm not going to say any more other than that, but part of it deals with metals. There is a new metal that is introduced in this book. It was awesome to learn about this new one, and I'll elaborate on all of that in the spoiler version. But even though we're only about 5 minutes in, that's it. We're stopping with the non-spoiler version here because I have so much to say in the spoiler version. Pack your snacks, pack your drinks, because you're going to need them as I try and condense everything that I want to talk about in my spoiler-free version in just a moment, in about 25 minutes or less. We'll see how we go. But if you are not going to join me for the spoiler version, I do completely understand. I definitely recommend this series to anyone who loves fantasy worlds with magic systems. You will not be disappointed. Brandon Sanderson is an amazing writer, and he takes you on an epic journey you will not regret purchasing or borrowing from your local library the Mistborn series, at least the 2 books that I've read so far. The first book is called The Final Empire, and this is the second one, The Well of Ascension. So thank you very much for watching. If you're not sticking around for the spoiler version, I post videos every Wednesday and Sunday and reviews in between, and I'll see you again very soon. Mwah! To those of you who are sticking with me, we'll be back right after this. Okay. There is a lot that I need to discuss in this spoiler version. Hello, welcome. This is the spoiler version. If you don't want to be spoiled, you probably shouldn't be listening to this. But if you're happy to be spoiled, if you've read this book or you don't care about spoilers, welcome. I might end up talking really fast here, and if I do, I apologize, but there's just so much I want to say. So let's just get right into it. Things that I loved about this book. Now, I'm not going to talk about the plot in this section. I normally do, but I just don't have the time to do that because there's so much I want to discuss. So if you want to see the plot, go to Goodreads, and Goodreads will give you a very sufficient plot. Wikipedia also has a very sufficient plot. It has spoilers and all that in there as well. But if you want a non-spoiler version, go to Goodreads and look up Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson, and you'll get a wonderful plot over there. Let's get into the things I loved about this book. First of all, I want to elaborate on the reveal, which is, if you've read this book, you know this already, the reveal of Orosur / Tensoon. We'll get to that in things I didn't love in my next video, being the traitor, the betrayer, the traitor, whatever you want to call it. I think it's the traitor. But anyway, so I have some notes. I'll read my notes and then I'll elaborate on it. So I loved not having any clue at all that it was Orosur. I'm just going to call him Orosur because for me, he is Orosur. He's not Tensoon. He's Tensoon according to Zane. So I'm just going to call him Orosur. I loved not having any clue at all that it was Orosur. It was a major shock to the system. I didn't like that Orosur was the traitor, and I'll discuss that in my things I didn't love about this book video, but the reveal itself was so shocking, and it provoked the emotions, the similar emotions that I had with The Final Empire, book 1 in the Mistborn series. It was amazing. I was thinking about everyone else. I thought it could have been Penrod for a moment, even though he doesn't really work in the castle, but, well, Keep Venture, but I kind of thought of Keep Venture as a castle while Elend was ruling. But yeah, definitely didn't think it was Orosur. I was thinking, is it Ham? Is it Breeze? I just hoped it wasn't Breeze, but, because I don't know why. I stand alone here, but I love Breeze. That's just me. But is it Ham? Is it Breeze? Please tell me it's not friggin' Sazed, because I love Sazed too much. Please tell me it's not Elend, because that would just be, whoa, way too much. But when it was revealed that it was Orosur and how it was revealed amongst that battle between Zane and Vin, which was an amazing battle in and of itself, oh my god. It's just like one blow after the other. Oh my god, Vin's going to die. Oh my god, Orosur's the betrayer. Oh my god, what are you doing, Orosur? Oh my god, it's so good. Amazing. Massive gasp moment right there. Absolutely. Second thing I loved about this book was the ode to the shocker I was revealing in the non-spoiler version. I am, of course, talking about the death of Kelsier. Brandon Sanderson, I have fallen back in love with you. There are moments that I love Brandon Sanderson, i.e. this video, and there are moments where I don't love Brandon Sanderson, i.e. the next video. But the ode to Kelsier was so amazing. Oh my gosh. The ode to Kelsier was amazing. It was almost like Sanderson knew he'd blown it with killing off the single best male character in book 1, my opinion, okay? And we spent a ton of time discussing Kelsier, memories of him, people who are inspired by him, and how they were inspired by him all throughout the book. Yes, Sanderson, good choice. Really, really good choice. And there was a moment towards the end where CZ is, was this like part 1, part 2, or part 3 of, oh my god, CZ's about to die, but then he doesn't die? Seriously, I don't know how I made it through that alive, because my heart was just affected by that so much. But anyway, because of how much I love CZ. But in one of the moments where it looks like CZ's about to die, there is a voice that is coming to him and telling him something, and I felt that was Kelsier. Now, I could be wrong there, but for me, I was looking up and crying, and oh my god. But any mention of Kelsier, it was a beautiful moment and a beautiful ode, a beautiful dedication to this wonderful character that I still can't believe Brandon Sanderson had to kill off. I get it. Before anyone says to me, if you haven't seen my review of The Final Empire, I get why Kelsier had to die. I do. But so emogically, indeed, emotions and logic, emogically. I get it emogically. Emotionally, I don't like it. Logically, I understand why it happened. So I'm, in two ways about that. But I love all the dedications that were made to Kelsier throughout this whole novel. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you, Brandon Sanderson. Okay, number 3. The new character is Tindwall. Okay. Let's talk about this feisty terrace woman that I love so much. Feisty, sprightly. How much do we love Tindwall? Oh my god. There are things about Elend that I love, which I'll discuss at a future point in this video, and there are things about Elend that I don't love that I'll discuss in the next video, but I just love this woman, because one of the things I didn't love about Elend was how he was so unsure of himself while he was king. And I get that that's his character and all of that. Like, I understand that's true to who he is. But the fact that this woman, who kind of hires herself, mind you, like, she's not hired to work there, she hires herself, stands up to him and says all these things like, no, this doesn't work. You are king. Why are you acting this way? You need to stand straight, shoulders back. We need to change your clothes. Da, da, da. Oh my god, I just loved her. Now, I wasn't even in the vicinity of realizing that CZ and Tindwall loved each other till the end when she died. Yeah, she died. That was kind of sad. But anyway, we'll get to deaths in my next video, because there are things I didn't like about the deaths, which I'll discuss over there. But so I didn't love her for the sake of her and CZ's relationship so much. I loved her more for her, for who she is and how she stands up to Kelsier and how she just doesn't care if it's out of place or not. She's just going to tell you what she thinks, and she's the total opposite to Orison, who is very much, oh, this is the contract and so I have to do it the way of the contract. But Tindwall is a lot more, no, you're not doing it this way. Who do you think you are? Why do you keep answering like this? Oh, God, love her, especially around Elend. Elend was annoyed by her. Well, in the end, he appreciated her, but the more he was annoyed by her, the more I actually loved her, because she molded Elend in a way that I really appreciated, but I just loved her as a character. Let's move on to the next thing, because we got so much to still talk about. Duraluminen. Okay, this word is not easy for me to pronounce, and I have pronounced really tough words. I love the English language, but this one, I just find a tough one to pronounce. So it is Duraluminen. Sorry, no it's not. It's Duralumin. Duralumin. Okay, so Duralumin is the new metal that is introduced into this book. So there are many, if you've read the book you already know this, but there are many metals that are introduced into the first book, the Final Empire, and That's how the magic system is created. If you're not aware, basically these metals are stored into a vial with some kind of a liquid. You down the metals. If you're Mistborn, you can then burn those metals internally, and then they create the powers, the magic that you have. If you are a Mistborn, anyway, or if you're a Mistborn, a Misting, a Terraceman or a Terracewoman, but yeah. Okay, so there was a new metal that was introduced, and we were introduced to many metals in book one. To name a few, we had brass, we had tin, we had that big one that everyone loves, ATM, and all the others. But in this book, we were introduced to this new one, which again is duralumin. So the new metal for this book, this metal combines 96% aluminium and 4% copper. Basically, duralumin instantly uses up any metals being burned simultaneously, releasing an enormous burst of power from those metals. It was so good to be introduced to a new metal. The more I can learn about things that a Mistborn can do, the happier I'll be. One of the reasons why I loved Kelsier so much in book one is because not only was he introducing Vin to anything and everything that a Mistborn can do, but he's also introducing us, the reader, to anything and everything a Mistborn can do. So I love everything I can learn about allomancy, and this was part of that, and so that was good. Do I love this particular power? Not really. Because I don't know, the fact that it kind of burns up everything else for a blast, and once the blast is gone, anything else that was burning at that time is gone as well. I don't like that. Where if you look at the other things like pewter or tin or brass or bronze or whatever, they don't burn up the other metals at the same time. So I just don't think the payoff is worth it, but I did appreciate being introduced to a new metal in this book. Okay, now, let's go into characters. Vin. There are things that I loved and things that I didn't love about Vin, but let's stick to the things that I did love about her for this video. I loved her because she got to explore her love for Ellen, and I really appreciated that. There are things about her exploration of her love with Ellen that I did not love, which I'll talk about in the other video, but there are just moments in their relationship which were just really beautiful, and it was really good to see her love and trust someone as much as she did, considering what she went through in book one. She has all this PTSD and all these things that she has to deal with because of everything she had gone through prior to being, shall we say, recruited by Kelsier. So the fact that she had someone that she could fully trust would have her back, it was just beautiful to see her growing in confidence with that, knowing that he has her back and that he does love her. Second thing, she had some awesome action scenes in the book. Now, this book does not have a lot of action in it at all, which did disappoint me, but the action scenes that were in there, I did love. So I appreciated her battle scenes with any of the armies that she battled against, whether it was in the hall where the voting was going to take place, kind of like voting part 1 rather than voting part 2, which we will discuss in video 2 because, issues aplenty about voting part 2 with who should be king. But anyway, we'll just get past that. Her fight against Zane, didn't appreciate that it had to occur, but loved her in that battle. Loved when her and Zane just went right into, what's his name? I think it's Set's keep, and the battle that they did there, and just everything, all the other battles that she was involved in, I absolutely loved. And when she pretty much single-handedly saved Luthadel, oh, go Vin. God. Like, everyone's struggling against the coal loss. Even Cazed, who I love and who he had a wonderful moment towards the end where he, uses his ferrochemy. Had to think for a moment what it's called. His ferrochemy to gain muscles and to get taller and battle against the coal loss. Even he couldn't defeat all of them. And then in swoops Vin, and suddenly everyone's saved. And, oh, God, love Vin. Seriously. What would this series do? What would Luthadel do without Vin? Seriously. I mean, I get that she's the main character, and generally speaking, I'm not the kind of reader that always jumps on board with loving the main character. Generally, I like the side characters more. But Vin is needed in this series because without her, the Koloss would be running Luthadel right now. And seriously, it would be very interesting to see what would happen. But anyway, very happy for her. Let's move on to Elend. Okay, I loved and did not love things about Elend, but let's talk about what I loved about him. In book 1, I liked Elend, but he was absolutely overshadowed by Kelsier. Now, because of the fact that Kelsier dies in book 1, and because of the fact that Elend and Vin are together in book 2, and because Elend is king, and because most of the book centers around Elend and Vin, Elend has a ton of screen time, so we get to know him really, really well. We do see him come into his own, which I really appreciated. I loved him embracing being king. Thank you, Tindwall, because without Tindwall, I don't think he would have. And, just acting as a king should act and not so unsure of himself. I appreciated what he did and the kind of laws that he wanted to impose, such as including having members of the Scar be part of the group, the council. And I really love that, and I personally, if I was in this world and I was made king, I would have done the exact same thing. I would have certainly had Scar on the council at the very least and done other things as well. So I get that he has a heart, and I really appreciate that. But when he really took on the persona of a king, gosh, I loved him even more. So that is a massive, massive credit to Tindwall and everything she did. I loved his cunningness to go after his father, despite the fact that no one else wanted him to. Yeah, so no one wanted him to go after his dad, but he was like, because this was a moment where he was, I'm king, and, Tindwall couldn't have been prouder, bless her. But he's saying, yeah, I don't care what you guys are saying. I'm king. This is what's happening. I'm going to see my father, and we're going to deal with this. Bless him. And it was good. And they were able to leave in one piece because, his father, Straff, wants to kill him, and he's basically in his own way saying, Nasa, we are leaving, goodbye. And God, I just loved his confidence. But anyway, I love that he always stands up for Vin every single time someone says something to put down Vin. He puts them in their place. That is the mark of a perfect partner, and love him so much for that. Even if it was Tindwall in the moments where he was scared of Tindwall, if she said something about Vin, he got back at her and said, no, you're not going to speak this way about Vin. So, love him for that. And I like that he seems to be an Allomancer now. Now, I don't know if this is for sure, but certainly at the end of the book, when he is dying and all that stuff that happened that we will discuss in the next video, because there are issues, people. But anyway, it seems that he now has Allomancy, and so it will be really interesting to see how this changes him as a character, because while he went from being quite unsure of himself at the beginning of the book to becoming more and more confident towards the end, he was doing this without having any form of Allomancy. Now he has Allomancy. How is that going to change him? So we will see, and time will tell. Let's move on to Sazed. Okay, I loved Sazed. You will not find me saying anything about Sazed, the character, in the next video because there's nothing I don't like about Sazed. It's hard not to love him. I have no dislike of him at all. Everything he did I appreciated. I was always on his side. He always is such a nice, kind, respectful guy. And then he grows muscles and fights off the Koloss. I mean, man, I love this guy. Can I just jump into this world and make friends with all of them? And I just want to make friends with Sazed. I even thought it in book 1. His personality, how nice and kind he is to everyone. That kindness. I think Sazed has a lot to teach everyone about how to treat each other. Yes, he got involved in the battle towards the end against the Koloss, but he can teach people how to be upstanding citizens by acting as he does, being respectful to everyone, being nice and kind to everyone. But anyway, let's move on because there's still more to discuss. Let's talk about Orosur / Tensoon. So there are things I loved and didn't love about this situation, but what a great book this was for the Conjurer. I want to say him, but I don't know if that's an incorrect wording to use, so let's just say respectfully say Conjurer, because I do have a lot of love for this Conjurer. For the Conjurer, Orosur / Tensoon. I loved his growing relationship with Vin and the discussions they had about the contract. Because his sass is so funny. Oh my god, like just moments where he would say his opinion because Vin would say, oh, it's okay, you tell me whatever you think. And he would say, okay. After a while, he would say, okay, well, I think this. And Vin would go, no, it's not this. And then he would say, yes, mistress, I will, you tell me what you want me to believe, and I will believe what you want me to believe because of the contract. Like, seriously, I wrote a quote down here. What is it? Yes, mistress, I will believe what you command me to believe. And Vin getting continually frustrated with him made it all the more hilarious. Bless you, Sanderson. Because this is such an emotional book, any kind of humour added into this book is greatly appreciated. So I very much appreciated those moments of, I do have an opinion, but whatever you command, that's what I'll do, mistress. I just loved it. Okay, he got under Vin's skin in those moments, but it was funny. I said that. All in all, though, to learn the background of this Conjurer was absolutely amazing, and I just grew to love him. I didn't like him in book 1 at all. I didn't like him as, I don't remember what his name was, but as the nobleman that he was playing, I didn't like him at all. But as the dog, I think it's a dog, I forget the breed is like a wolf hound or something. Anyway, as the dog, just loved him. Loved him in book 2. Yes, he betrayed Vin, which I'll discuss in things I didn't love. But then he ended up betraying Zane to save Vin. So, go Orosur. Lots of love for him. And yeah, I make a point in things I didn't love about Well of Ascension I will make a point, because I haven't done it yet, in my next video, how I separate the two. To me, anytime he's obeying Vin, his name is Orosur, and anytime he's obeying Zane, which was next to never, he's Tensoon. That's my opinion on that. Okay, let's talk about Zane. But before I talk about Zane, I want to quickly talk about Olrian, because I didn't like her, and I don't know if she came up in my other one. No, she didn't. So I just want to quickly make the point that I did not like her as a character, but I appreciated the lightheartedness that she brought to this book, because it's such an emotional book and there's so many serious things that go on in this book. Anytime this woman, I'm non-offensively going to call her a bimbette. I'm saying this as, as humorously as I can. I'm not trying to, be vindictive. I'm just trying to say it humorously. She is the bimbiest bimbette I have ever met in any book. But any, moment where everyone's discussing things and all hush-hush and, where do we go from here and da-da-da-da-da. And then, the book will go on to say, and then Olrian walked into the room, like, oh my God, bless her. Because it breaks the tension right away. Oh, what does she call Breeze? Breezy, where's my Breezy? Oh God, seriously, bless her. And that whole Breeze thing, Breeze and her, so many things to say that I won't say and what I didn't like about it, but just, she's just so different to everyone else, she really is. Okay, let's talk about Zane while we still have a little bit of time left to do so, because this may be an unpopular opinion, but gosh dang it, I loved Zane, okay? I did. I thought he was an amazing guy. I loved what he was trying to do with Vin. Now, yes, it's hard for me to discern when he was under Strath's guidance and when he was just doing things because he was freelancing and doing it his own way. Freelance is probably not the right word, but he was doing things his own way. The discussions he has with Vin about, I don't remember the metaphor, but it keeps coming up in the book. Something like, we are the knife that are, we're the Mistborns and we're basically just here to kill for everyone, we're just things kind of thing. I love that she got to have that discussion with him. With Kelsier not in this book, Vin does not have another Mistborn to lean on. She just doesn't have that. But with Zane, she does. And I really appreciated his character being there and the discussions they got to have. I loved when they stormed Set's keep together and they were just like, you know what, stuff this, whatever anyone else is thinking, who cares, we're going to go and attack. And let's just go ahead and do this. And it was amazing. And I just loved their moments together. And the fact that he is Ellen's brother, well, brother, stepbrother, whatever, I loved that as well. Didn't quite love that they didn't get to meet as stepbrothers or brothers. But we'll get into that in the next video. Okay, let's talk about the points I actually wrote down about Zane. I don't have any dislike of Zane aside from him killing Vin, boo Zane, on that one thing. I didn't like that he felt he needed to kill Vin because she wasn't going to save him. I get it. I get why it's happening. I just didn't appreciate that it had to happen. Just a moment. But aside from that, I did really love him as a character, and I felt that his connection with Vin and the fact that she got another Mistborn to talk to was just amazing. It was needed after Kelsier died in the first one. So just really, really appreciated that. Yeah, I love that he was helping her and that it just worked together. But my problem was that I didn't think he needed to die, and I will discuss that when I talk about the things I didn't love about this book. But that does bring us to the end there. So those are all the things that I absolutely loved about Mistborn, The Well of Ascension. It is an amazing book. It does deserve the 5 stars that I did give it. Brandon Sanderson, why didn't I know you before this year? I am definitely going to be adding The Hero of Ages, which is book 3, to my April TBR, and I'll discuss more about that when I read that there. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. I post videos every Wednesday and Sunday, and also do reviews in between. Peace, blessings, and so much love to all of you. Mwah! And happy reading. Bye, guys. Bye.